G'day, it's Heath here from pickinglessons.com. In this banjo lesson we're going to take a look at a great tune called the 10-penny bit. The 10-penny bit is in 6/8 time and the melody is played out of the A dorian mode, which is an A minor scale, but it shares the same key signature as G major, so it has the F sharp in there. In a moment we're going to take a look at part A of the tune, and if you head on over to pickinglessons.com you're going to find yourself a copy of the tablature we're working from. You'll also find part 2 of this lesson where we take a look at part B and we'll break down each of the measures. And you'll also find some backing and play along tracks at 3 tempos. So once you learn the tune you can use that to start to navigate to a faster tempo. pickinglessons.com. Alright, let's jump on into part A. Okay, part A here for 10-penny bit on the banjo. We are in standard tuning. Make sure you've got the high G, D, G, B and D. Your open G standard tuning. We're in 6/8 time, and 6/8 time has 2 dotted quarter note beats to the bar separated into 3/8 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and a, 2 and a. So as we work through this, we'll have a look at how that 6/8 time signature fits in the tune. To start off with, I'll play through the first 4 measures so you can have a listen. So from the beginning. So the first 4 measures there in part A. When we're using our right hand, I really find that we get a nicer tone, and when we get to the quicker notes with our picking, it's worth picking up towards the neck of the banjo. You can experiment a little bit if you want to pick down towards the bridge, but it certainly is a little bit easier to pick the quicker 16th notes with the strings a little bit slinkier up towards the neck. So experiment with your hand position, but this tune does sound nice with your hand further up towards the neck here. So at the very beginning we have the pick up note on the open 5th string, and that's played during the count in on the 6/8 note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before we move into measure 1. Now one of the main challenges for this tune is what we need to do in our right hand. Our left hand gets to stay put a lot of the time or have minimal movement. So the left hand isn't too hard, but it's all about the right hand. For this first measure, we have these 16th notes that are in the first beat. So counting that first beat, we have 1, 2 and 3. So to play those 16th notes, we're gonna, every time they come up in the tune, we're gonna pick those as thumb, index, thumb. And they're always on that single string. So in this case, it's that A note there at fret 2 on string 3. So those 3 quicker notes, thumb, index, thumb. Kick off with your middle finger, back to that middle finger, second half of the bar, index and thumb, just 8th notes. 1, 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. Fingering, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb. So that's one of the points in the tune that is easier to play up towards the neck. You can play it down here. It certainly sounds warmer and a nicer tone up here though as well. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Let's have a look at the second measure. Pretty straightforward. Almost all open strings, barring that 2nd fret there, the A. Pretty much just a standard roll pattern almost. So index, thumb, index, thumb, index, middle. Measure 3 is like measure 1. The difference is kick off on your index finger. Because we're finishing measure 2 on the middle finger on that open 1st string, switch the index finger for the first note of bar 3. So we'll have the roll out of the 2nd bar, middle finger ends, index finger starts. Just to keep the fluency without having to double up on that middle finger. So middle index there, last note 2nd bar into the first note of the 3rd. Jumping into measure 4. So here we've moved up position. Our 2nd finger there is on fret 5, finger 1's on fret 4 when we need it. Little finger can cover fret 7 or 3rd if you prefer. I'm going to use my little finger there. We've got our open 5th string as well. So middle, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb. All 8th notes. Okay, so slowly let's play through the first half here of part A. We'll include that pickup note at the beginning. Remember that pickup note is played on the last eighth note of our count-in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so work through each of those measures. Make sure you get to know where your fingers need to be when we move up the neck. The right hand is where you really want to concentrate your focus and your practice. That first measure is a great exercise just to get your hand moving. Just working on getting those 16th notes, because as the tempo increases, you're going to find that quite challenging if you haven't got your right hand fingering under control. So remember the 16th notes, thumb, index, thumb. As we go through the tune in the second half, you'll find it's going to be the same thing. So if you get to know it now in that first measure, just use it as an exercise. You can loop it. If you can do that and get that nice and fluent, you'll be okay with this tune. That is really challenging when you're playing it fast, particularly if you don't quite have it nailed. But let's move on though. Let's have a look at the second half here. Measure 5 into the end there, measure 8. Then we have that pickup note there at the end to take us back into the beginning. Measure 5 and 6 are the same as what we find at the beginning of the tune. So looking ahead into measures 7 and 8. So let's have a look at those notes first. So we're up into the 5th position there with our first finger at fret 5 and our 3rd finger. Index, thumb, index. That's why you hold those notes. That's easy enough. Open 5th, open 1st, thumb and middle fingers. Now, 2 16th notes into the next 8th note of measure 8. Thumb, index, thumb, just like before, just in a different place within the beat, but same fingering. So thumb, index, thumb. Then we're going to move into the index finger, to the thumb, to the index to finish off that measure before the pickup note with the thumb. Slowly, let's play through measures 7 and 8. So starting up in fret 5, both fingers can be holding those notes. 4, 5, 6. At this point, we would repeat back to the beginning of the tune, and then the second time through, we would have that alternate ending where we do have a different pickup note leading us into part B. Fingering on those last 2 bars once more. Index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, index. Finishing with the thumb on the pickup note. So all the fingering is marked in the tablature, both for your right hand, and that's the important part, and your left hand. Make sure you're following that. It will make the tune easier to play as the tempo increases. So let's finish off this lesson right now by playing through part A with the repeats. So first time through, back to the beginning, and then we'll finish on that second ending at this point in time just on the A note. So from the very beginning, not too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Repeat. All right, part A there, 10 penny bit. Watch two things. Watch your left hand transitions as you play between the two positions in the tune. Use the open strings that precede that to really get your hand into position. There's a couple of moments where we're going to move up and then move back, but there's always open strings before that. So make sure you're using those to start or initiate that hand movement. And then the right hand, make sure you are following that fingering, because that's really important, particularly the thumb, index thumb on the 16th notes. Alright, so if you head on over to pickinglessons.com, you will find this tablature as part of this lesson. It's got the fingering marking for your right hand and your left. You also find the second part of this lesson where we take a look at part B and we'll break down each measure and learn that slowly together. The end of that video will also have a slow play through the entire form, so A, A, B, B. There are also 3 backing track and play along tracks there at 3 different tempos, so as you're getting to know the tune, you can use those to help improve your fluency and increase your speed as you get to know the tune. pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.